right? Yeah, so talk about early, like, family influence, like, on your, just to your lifestyle before hip-hop.
My dad was musically inclined. So when Flash and Mean Gene was playing music in the street back then, I could relate to the music.
Mm-hmm.
See, now, again, Flash was a teenager or a man to us. We was young guys.
Right.
So we wasn't allowed to go to a Hollywood party because he was older. His audience would be able to buy drinks. We was kids. We couldn't do that.
Right.
So we wasn't allowed to go into that. So when we develop our own culture, all of a sudden it got big. Now they want to come and be down there. We hip hop. How you hip hop? But we couldn't come in your joint.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We again, no disrespect, but that's what it was.
Right.
Now, y'all was playing music. Yes. Y'all was DJs and rappers. Y'all wasn't even thinking about MC, and there was no MCs. There was no MCs. Actually, Melle Mel is the father and of MCs because, you know, other than that, it was me with the party stuff. Throw your hands in there. I tried to make you feel good to the groove.
Right.
Melle Mel's did a rhyme that made the world listen to when he said, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. God smiling on you and he's frowning too. That fucked the world.
Right.
They said, did you hear what that man said? And everybody's like, oh shit, you can do that? And everybody started all of a sudden rhyming and trying to make sense of what they were saying. But you couldn't. The DNA in our culture today, even in the rap, because rap is something we do.
Right.
Hip hop is something we live.
Right.
So for all the rappers and the artists that's making records and stuff, that DNA is the Grandmaster Melle Mel all day, every day.
So you were gonna say he's the architect of reality rap?
He is the god. He started it.
Right.
When they heard that, like I said, when people heard that, white, black, Chinese, African, when they heard him say that, everybody lost it.
Right.
It was like, oh, they didn't know what to do. Then you had your KRS-Ones, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
People coming out talking real stuff, Chuck D. It started just coming.
Right.
The conscious, what they call it, conscience.
Right.
Conscious rap.
Yeah.
No, there ain't no conscious rap. That was real nigga shit.
Right.
That was some real nigga shit.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's
right.
what that was. And that's what we spoke about, even to when it turned to Eazy-E and those guys. Now, I was on a tour with LL Cool J. It was called the Nitro Tour. This was like 88, 89.
Right.
I've never saw or heard of a rap group from the West Coast. I'm pretty sure they was doing it. But the group NWA, to me, and Too Short was my first rapper I ever heard of from being on the East Coast about a West rapper.
Right.
But he was just saying, fuck you, bitch. And I'm like, they played that shit out here? It fucked me up.
Right.
But that's what it was.
Yeah.
And man, I was happy. And I would say, yo, what we did is spread it like wildfire. Everybody is doing that,
So
man.
the first, give me your first feelings of like hearing yourself on the radio.
Oh man, I lost it because I couldn't believe that I was on the radio. I didn't ask nobody to put it on. You know how some people made records and went to the radio stations or probably went to the DJ and said, try to get my record on the radio. I ain't do that with Suicide. And that was really the first record that broke, that made people like, oh shit.
And what year was that?
88.
88, okay.
So that happened like that. And so when I heard it, I thought my friends I gave everybody a tape of my new song, you know, I did that much.
Yeah.
So I thought people was just playing it in my neighborhood. And they was calling me out the window and say, hey, Busy, the radio. So I got up, I'm looking, and I hear the song, and I'm like, yeah, I'm happy. And everybody said, no, motherfucker, the radio. So I ran in the house and I pressed the radio on, and BLS was playing. I lost it. I fell to pieces. I'm like, yo. And they was doing at this time, BLS doing the exercise. So they was playing the beat, and she's doing the bend and stretch and bend. They playing Suicide, the beat. Oh man. And here's the real thing that really like made me say, because Melle Mel helped me write Suicide. Melle Mel gave me the name. because I let the beat, Jazzy J made the beat. The beat was for Grand Poobah, Will Smith, Chuck D. It was for a few people. They didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Biz, listen. So I listened to it again. I said, yeah, that's dope. Let's go to the studio and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Melle Mel came to the studio. I said, yo, man, I'm doing this beat, man. What you think of this? He listened to it. He said, man, that shit's suicide. I said, yo, we gonna call it that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then as I started putting it together, I'm a hype guy.
Right.
I'm a hype type of guy. Mm-hmm. And Mel said, no, B, no, sit back, lay back, do your laid back rap. It's like when I was coming at, yo, when I was a young boy, up he said, no, B, chill, do lay back, do your lay back. So like when I was a young boy, and I did that. And it just worked out. And before you know it, I mean, and Fred Bugs, he was the radio guy at this time, Fred Bugsy, and Jazzy J was real good friends.
Okay.
So I guess he had it through Jazzy. And I didn't ask nobody nothing. They just liked it. They said, that's awesome. Biz got it right now. So I was a hit for 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. It's kind of controversial. So I don't know if you up on it, if you pay attention to the internet. Lord Jamar, right? He's been addressing
the Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, and the founders of hip hop, and the Black Americans.
And Jamal's my dude.
Right.
But he wasn't there, so you don't know.
Okay.
So no problem. But the Puerto Ricans played a major part in our culture.
Okay.
Now, when I say that, they was doing graffiti, break dancing, but they wasn't there when Cowboy was saying hip hop. At this time, they probably was doing graffiti on the walls and wherever they was doing it. But that wasn't a part of hip hop to us. That was just some shit of y'all putting on the fucking trains and the walls. You know what I'm saying? Right. But we allowed them in because they had the language.
Right.
They appreciated our shit. Again, hip hop in the beginning was nigga shit.
Right.
That was for niggas to do.
Right.
We had no idea that it was do what it did.
Right.
Until we did a movie. We did a movie called Wild Style. Wild
Style, okay.
But the break dancers, which was mainly Puerto Ricans, actually got the attention of corporations to where the first commercial of Pepsi was by a Puerto Rican break dancer, Mr. Freeze. That did the spinning on the back, and you remember all of that? Right. That was a Pepsi commercial. He broke the barriers. So yes, they played a major part of our corporation with the Spanish language, the graffiti, the break dancing. I mean, you know. So to Jamal, you know you my dude, Jamal, and I love you to death. But they played a major part of this culture we call hip hop, and again, it could be those guys that did it, but they was there. They accepted it because it was nothing but us. It was just Puerto Ricans and brothers. And we wasn't brothers. Again, no disrespect to them, but we was the niggas. It was the niggas and the Puerto Ricans. And we made something out of our culture early on to develop where the corporations came on and peeped our culture and understood it to where they capitalize off in it now. And which is awesome because they're feeding families. Right. That's the beauty of it. Right. To feed the families. But again, too, do it with the real people and not make people. Because they making rappers to look like rappers. Right. For their commercials. Right.